Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abruzzino with another Rogue Rant. Today I'm ranting about civility and the decline of civility as we're seeing not only with these riots that took place in Milwaukee, but the civility of our major media. This what you're seeing on the screen right now is where CNN was out there and they were editing the daughter or sister of the individual that was killed. And basically she was on there saying, "Don't burn down our neighborhoods, go out there and burn down the white man's neighborhoods." But what they did is they showed her just saying, "Calm down and don't do this." But it's about civility at all levels. One of the unavoidable consequences of youth is a tendency to think that our behavior, their behavior that they're having now, is the way it's always been. And we need to dispute that vision. Back when I was in high school in Venice, Florida, back in '85, I graduated. There were no police in there patrolling the hallways. Police weren't needed. Today, local high schools, at this one here in Venice, we have 2 SROs there patrolling the schools. Back when I was in school, there was the occasional fight. We used to call it the rumble. But within the school, there was order. Order that was maintained by the administration and teachers. As students, we didn't sit there. We didn't cuss out our teachers. We didn't try to assault them. That stuff didn't happen. And many of the housing projects were some of the most dangerous and dysfunctional places within our inner city. You have the murders, the shootings, and assaults, and they became routine. People started putting window bars up and multiple locks, and that became the norm. It's not just the inner city. When I moved here to Venice in '82, you could leave your windows open, you could leave your door unlocked. But that's not the case anymore today, is it? Back in the 40s and 50s, these inner city housing projects were not the way they are today. They bore no relation to what they have become. Many people never locked their doors, like I said. They didn't bar their windows. People didn't go to bed at the sound of gunshots. And most of the residents were 2-parent families, with one working, not both. That's the way society was. But that's not the norm today in the inner cities, or even out in in the suburbs where I'm at. Why was there a greater level of civility in the big cities than there is today? These were predominantly black neighborhoods. Why was there more civility then than in the 40s and 50s? You can't tell me that there was less racial discrimination and poverty back then. It was probably worse. My mom went through the race riots in Detroit. Was academic performance higher because there were greater opportunities? Was civility in schools greater in the earlier periods because some black students had more black role models in the form of black principals, teachers, and guidance counselors? I don't think so. In the 60s, the values that made for civility came under attack in the inner cities and the suburbs. Corporal punishment was banned. I remember getting my hand slapped with a ruler because I flipped somebody off. You're not going to see that anymore today, folks. This was a time when the education establishment they launched their agenda. Their agenda to undermine lessons children learn from their parents, from their churches, from their organizations outside of the school. When sex education became the norm, lessons of abstinence were ridiculed, considered passé. We replaced those with lessons of how to put on a condom, how to do birth control, what abortions can bring for you. The nation's educators, the pseudo-intellectuals, and courts have waged war on traditions, customs, and moral values of the families. Many people have been counseled to believe there were no moral absolutes. Instead, what's moral or immoral is more of a matter of, personal convenience, personal opinion. What feels good? What is not criminal? We no longer condemn or shame self-destructive and rude behavior. Why is that? Cheating and lying is okay. Dependency. out of wedlock pregnancy, all that stuff. When did this become the norm? The abandonment of traditional values has negatively affected the nation as a whole. I'm sorry to say. All of this has brought upon us the decline of civility. And unfortunately, we're going to continue to see stuff like you see to the left of me on the screen. We're going to continue to see riots, unnecessary riots, uncalled for riots. We're going to continue to see mainstream media editing and putting out propaganda pieces. And it's not just CNN, it's Fox and all the other ones. So the call today, the Rogue Rant today is about the decline of civility. What say you? This has been Francesco Abruzzino with the Rogue Rant.